Hi, my name's Jay. I'm one of the co-founders of Oak City Labs. We're a software development agency, and I'm here with my co-founder, Carol, this morning, and we're going to talk about how to streamline the user onboarding experience for your software product or your app. So Carol, first tell us why user onboarding, like what is it and why is it important?
So onboarding is kind of that experience the user has when they first open up your app, especially if they're new to it. And so there's kind of two different camps here. One is if your app is really well done and well built, you don't need onboarding. And the other is sometimes your users need a little bit of guidance the first time they're opening up an app. And so I think a lot of it depends on what type of app you have. Like if you have a social app, you probably don't want to have a very extensive onboarding process. You want to make the app super simple and easy to use. Whereas an app that's more of a utility, maybe some sort of educational tool, you might want to have just a little bit of onboarding so people kind of know what they can do in the app.
Okay. And how do you go about creating an onboarding strategy for your users?
So I think you sit down with your team and you talk about what's the goal of this app, what's the purpose, and what's the value that you're delivering to the user. And then you kind of go from there and you can kind of map out, okay, what's the first thing the user sees when they open up the app? Where do we want them to go? What do you want them to do while they're there? And you can just whiteboard out your steps. You might even wireframe some things out. But you really want to take a look at that layout and what's intuitive or would be intuitive for the user to click on or do next or tap on.
Okay, and what do you consider some of the best practices or tips for folks who are trying to design their onboarding strategy?
Sure. So, I mean, if you kind of take a step back from onboarding, there's kind of best practices around just the app itself, like where, when a user signs up for your app, what is that account flow like? Is it really super simple or do you have a lot of different steps? And for example, like if you ask for a credit card up front, you're probably going to lose some users right then and there, depending on the app and depending on your target market. So you really want to be strategic about the number of screens a user has to go through. So that would be kind of tip number one. And then two, there's also the experience they have with your company. Like, is it easy for them to get help? Can they call a 1-800 number and get help? Is there a chat bot on your website? Do you have an FAQ area or a help center where they can easily find information? So if you decide not to have like onboarding screens or some sort of walkthrough in your app, can they easily Google your app and find a help center to get the information they need to be successful in using your app?
Okay, so a lot about reducing friction for that whole process.
Yeah.
All right, can you go through like an example onboarding process?
Sure. So, I think any app you download from the App Store, you can kind of get a feel of how the apps work. You just download one and take a look at it. But some of the best apps, you just download it and you go straight in. I think the Facebook app, when you download it, you go right to the social feed after you sign up. And some of those apps, you only have to sign up with the phone number. You don't have to put in a whole bunch of account information. But another way to think about it is, when's the last time you went to like a doctor's office and you walked in and they handed you an iPad and you filled out the forms and it was really super simple. And if that kind of process is really simple, then it makes you think, oh, I kind of like this doctor's office. They make it easy to schedule appointments. They make it easy to fill out my records and keep them up to date. And so you kind of want to translate that experience into your app as well.
All right, well, thank you, Carol. And if you, the viewer, would like to learn more about streamlining your onboarding experience for new users in your app, for your platform, you can check out our video, and it is called How to Get Your App Users to Stick Around After the Free Trial. And there'll be a link for that in the video below. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.